which leads us to wonder, do the Lakers or the Nets have more question marks? Freddie, I'll start with you.
Oh, for me, it's the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think there's any doubt about it because of one guy, and that guy's Kyrie Irving, because right now he's the most polarizing figure in the world of sports. And I've said it before, guys, and Victoria, and I'll say it again. I don't think he is a dumb person. I think he's very intelligent, very smart, but sometimes he acts too smart for the room, or he thinks he's more intelligent than the room. When you're going to put yourself out there like that, the way he's been able to put himself out like that, you're going to have a lot of people come at you or support you. So he's the main guy, as far as I'm concerned, why this is a loaded question, as you see on the graphics right now. Because of him, that's why all these questions are more with the Brooklyn Nets than the Los Angeles Lakers. Not because of Kevin Durant, not because the Nets have not mattered in a New York Knicks town for a long, long time, otherwise known as forever, but because Kyrie Irving is that polarizing kind of guy, and all that attention is focused on him.
This is the first time I've met Freddie here. What a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Here we go.
Lost. He's lost with his opinion.
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Here's the setup.
Stephen A. I can yell at him and not get upset. He's such a good guy. I'm going to have trouble here, but he's wrong.
Okay, here it is.
But
we knew it.
There we go.
You have to put the Lakers in this category in worse trouble because one reason is age.
Yeah.
And the other reason is health. Who knows on Anthony Davis? LeBron's 37. You have to figure, and Freddie's right. His biggest issue for Kyrie, he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. So, but I'm going to think for a second that for once he's going to realize that the world, take it easy, all right? You took your 36 million, play 70 games. You had a terrible year last year with the vaccination. He got wiped out in the first round. So maybe he'll be on his best behavior and he'll want to play and not go out, take a week off when his kid, somebody's got a birthday party they did 2 years ago. So as a result, I think you'll see the best Kyrie here in 2022.
Okay.
And Westbrook, boy, America's a nice place when you can sign for a 40 opt-in for $48 million off the year that he had. So I think the Lakers have Mitch, a new coach too with him. I think the Lakers got many more issues than the Nets do.
What's this question say? It says, which team has more question marks? Freddie, the Lakers have 6 guys under contract.
Yeah.
I don't even know who there's going to be their starting lineup. But I think both of these teams, like recently, I think Sean Marks, was seen meeting with Rob Pelinka. Can you imagine what they're saying? They're both going, boy, I wonder if Russell Westbrook will change who he is. He's one of the most interesting, amazing, iron-headed guys we've ever seen. Maybe he'll change. What do you think? That's what he said. He's going, well, maybe Kyrie. Maybe Kyrie.
Yeah.
He's one of the most freest thinkers and goes left and right and right and left. Maybe he'll change and he'll actually focus. They're both like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? They both need these guys to do. They need them to come through, which is why it's not completely ridiculous that at some point this year, if it's not going well for either of them, they can be like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? Because both of these guys are extraordinarily talented. Both of these guys' contracts are now in their last year, and both these guys have huge incentive to do a certain thing, and they still might not do it. And so who's got more questions? It's the Lakers. They have no players on their team. But both of these teams are losing sleep about what's going to happen with their star players.
Well, here's the deal with that. The Lakers put themselves in that situation by going all in with LeBron. They allowed LeBron to play general manager from this standpoint. The Brooklyn Nets are different from the standpoint in terms of why I think they have more questions based on one guy, Kyrie Irving, because when you're a desperate organization that has not won a championship since Dr. J played for the New York Nets, we're talking about 2 franchises in 2 different places later. Since the New York Nets have mattered in the city of New York. You bring in a signing with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and everything that comes with it, all of a sudden now, that's why that's the bigger question more than any of the Lakers' questions. The Brooklyn Nets have to be championship or bust. Nobody's talking about that, the Los Angeles Lakers right now, because of a loaded Western Conference. To your point about we don't know who's going to be on the roster, they may have to go back to old YouTube tapes and bring back Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the skyhook to see if that's going to work. But the Brooklyn Nets right now have a team that they basically told everybody, we're going to win a championship in Brooklyn. We're no longer going to make this a New York Knicks town. Good luck with that. So if that's going to be your case with championship or bust, as many questions with who's going to be in the Lakers roster, I'm not saying Brian and Chris, you guys are wrong with that standpoint, but when your main drag, your main bag is championship or bust, that overrides any other questions on the other side of town when it comes to Los Angeles Lakers.
100%. Now, one thing, I don't think Durant wants anything to do with Westbrook. and they would go nuts. He would quietly if they traded Irving for Westbrook. He's got to play with. He left Westbrook, as it turns out, the first time.
Sure.
He don't want to play with Westbrook again. So I don't know how it would work.
I don't.
Wise you can do it, but how would Westbrook play with Durant?
I don't know where Durant is right now with what's happening. I mean, he's committed to Kyrie multiple times in a row. He committed to him when he signed here, when he could have gone elsewhere. To me, it's one of the most amazing things in the 20 years I've covered the NBA, that the choices that Durant had. I understand he wanted to leave Golden State. I'll take that off the table.
Sure.
He could have gone to the Clippers. He could have been where Paul George is. He could have had he could have gone to the Knicks. But he came to meet up with Kyrie. Then, a couple years later, he didn't have to extend his contract last year. He extended that contract with no opt-out. That's amazing. He's like, things are going great here. I'm opting in. And then last year, when the Harden-Kyrie thing went like this, he supported Kyrie Irving. When the team said, no, we're not going to have a part-time player in the vaccination issue, he supported Kyrie Irving. He has supported him and supported him and supported him.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So over and over, I would have to say that in this moment that Kevin Durant would probably support Kyrie Irving. He comes on this podcast earlier this week and he goes, that's between them. That's between them.
Yeah.
Now, how does he feel today? How is he going to feel next week? How is he going to feel on September 20th when they come back together? These are questions I don't know. And I know, because I've seen Stephen A. over in that seat get into this with KD. When you try to say, this is what KD's thinking, KD roars back. That doesn't just play for the media. It also plays for the team.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.